What's up, guys? Welcome to Gorilla Mike TV. Just want to talk about the passing of President George H.W. Bush. First of all, to put things into context, I was born and grew up at the tail end of the Cold War. For you kids out there, there was, they're too young to remember, there was something called the Cold War. It was a big conflict between the U.S. and Soviet Union, or Russia, as they call it now. So George H.W. Bush was a very important figure during that time, during the end of the Cold War. He served as vice president under Ronald Reagan, and then became president. Of course, as a kid growing up, the Gulf War was the first televised war, CNN, so everything was there. I saw it. So it was an exciting time for a kid seeing, war. Of course, you grow up and you realize that war is not all that pleasant. But as a kid, it's exciting. You turn on the TV and you got soldiers and tanks and planes and battleships and fighter jets, right? So I was very, into the news because of my dad, and so, I saw the fall of the Berlin Wall. So all of these things culminated at the same time. So he was an important figure in the world at that very critical time in the world, when things were sort of like we're going in a crossroads. We don't know what the future held. So, his leadership was very important. I think he was the first president. I think Ronald Reagan was sort of like, I was a little bit too young to really see his presidency. So George H.W. Bush was the first American president that I really was mature enough to observe and understand. And so, what I remember about him is just leadership. It's like he was like, a definitive American president. Strong, well-spoken, had character, dignity. Somebody you could look up to. And that's, of course, sorely missing in this modern political age, where politicians have lost that charm, that charisma, that statesmanship, that leadership, that sophistication. So for me, George H.W. Bush represented that generation, that ideal symbol of what a politician or a leader should be. Even though maybe you don't agree with his politics, you don't agree with everything he believes in or he stands for, you just got to look at the image of the man, or what he represents, right? How he carried himself, the dignity which he conveyed, how he respected the office of the president. So all of these things are juxtaposed with our current political situation, where all of those things are gone. There's no statesmanship, there's no charm, there's no manners, no politeness. Leaders should be the best of us. They should not be the worst of us. Right? I want to be led by someone I can look up to and I say, you know what, that guy is who I want people to be like, right? He embodies the character of someone that I can follow, right? Like I said, regardless if you don't like his politics or not, respect the man, respect what he represents, right? So to me, HW was the last of a generation. Of course, he died at 94. War hero, got shot down in World War II, came back, made it big in the oil business, went back to serve his country, was the director of the CIA during the height of the Cold War. I mean, you gotta have pretty big balls to be director of the CIA during the height of the Cold War, right? Became vice president under Ronald Reagan, then became president, showed tremendous leadership during the Gulf War, and then retired after his presidency and became a statesman and a symbol for America. So I want to salute George H.W. Bush for the life he lived, for the legacy he left behind, and for the example he set. Not just for politicians. Of course, politicians should conduct themselves with class and dignity and civility. But more importantly, I think, for people coming up who's going to study, the future leaders, when they look back and they look at the great leaders of the 20th century, and they look back at George H.W. Bush, they might say, yeah, I want to be like that guy. I don't want to be like this dude. I don't want to be a loudmouth, blabbermouth, braggadocious, boastful, bombastic, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to be a jackass. I want to be like this dude, because this dude was suave, sophisticated. He was the man to be like, right? So I hope we can all learn from his life, and more importantly, from his passing, that we need to be better people and we need to be great leaders. Okay, guys, take it easy. Gorilla Mike, I'm out.